Hello boys and girls, and welcome to Arsenal TV. Now today's video is pretty plain and simple. We are going to do a review based on the Premier League, Europa League and the Arsenal season that's just finished. As we all know, that Arsene Wenger has officially left Arsenal. Not just that, we are actually currently looking to get another potential manager at the moment, but that's going to be in another video on the Transfer Daily. We're actually going to relive some of the results and some of the games that we've had this season, but to be honest, the games that we've had this season, especially the away games, have been absolutely dreadful, and we're going to relive it. Now I'm going to go by the months and tell you whether it was an away game or bits about the game as well. So we're going to start off with the curtain raiser of, now if you said to any other manager, they would have said no, it's just a pre-season. If they lose it, it's a pre-season. But for me, you know, the Community Shield is the curtain raiser, and you know, if you win the Community Shield, you take it on to the first game of the season, and that's pretty much how it is. So we got down to playing against Chelsea in the Community Shield at Wembley, and we ended up drawing 1-1 of the 90 minutes, and obviously extra time, but we ended up going to penalties, and we beat Chelsea on penalties, which was quite pleasing really, because Chelsea played well the season before that. Obviously they won the Premier League, so you know it was good to beat them. Obviously we played Chelsea in pre-season, but you know it was good to get a good win against them. Now we're going to move on to the first game of the Premier League, which was on the Friday night, and it was against Leicester at home. Now this particular game was very, very heart-stopping really, because it got to a point where we was 1-0 up, and then the next minute, you know, we're 2-3-1 down, and then for somehow we ended up getting 3 goals in 5 minutes, which was pretty superb, and the match ended up 4-3. So that was a good first win at home, and a good first win in the Premier League. It was like going through the season before that all over again, just from that game. But yeah, and not just that, Lacazette got a goal, Aubameyang got a debut goal as well. So yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty good, decent result from Arsenal. Not the best, but it was decent. Now we move on to the first away game away from home, and it was against Stoke. Of all teams, this is a team that Arsenal doesn't really like. Stoke doesn't like us, so yeah, we're going to go into Stoke, and we lost 1-0. The second away game was against Liverpool, and we got embarrassed, and it was 4-0 straight. Again, two away victories, 2 away defeats in a row. Now I'm going to move on to September. September was pretty even, I guess, in a way. The first game in September was against Bournemouth at home. Comfortably won that 3-0. And then we got to the first group stage game of Europa League, and we beat FC Cologne 3-1 at home. Then we went to Chelsea, a decent performance away from home really, at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League, but we ended up getting the goal. We did get a goal, but it was disallowed, but the game ended up 0-0. And I thought that was a pretty decent performance from us. Then we go into the first game of the Caribou Cup, and we beat Doncaster Rovers 1-0. Then we went to the Premier League game at home, which was against West Brom Albion, and we won that 2-0 against West Brom at home. Then we went to the second game of the Europa League group stage. And we went to Bate Borisov, and we beat them 4-2 away from home. Now I'm going to go into October. Now, Arsenal started off with a good home victory against Brighton. We won 2-0. Then we went away to Watford in the Premier League, and we ended up losing 2-1. Don't know how we lost that, but we did. Then we played away to Red Star Belgrade away from home, the third game of the Europa League group stage, and we won 1-0. Then we went away to Everton in the Premier League, and we ended up winning 5-2. I thought that game was a brilliant performance from us. It was a Mesut Ozil masterclass, absolutely brilliant. And I thought the players played pretty decent. So I think that was one of our best performances of the season. I think that one was in the Premier League. Then we played against Norwich in the Caribou Cup, and we won 2-1. Then after that, we played against Swansea at home in the Premier League, and we won 2-1. Now I'm going to go into November. November. We played against Bate Borisov in Europa League group stage at home, and we drew 0-0. Then we played against Man City at the Etihad, and we lost 3-1. If you remember watching my preview for that, I predicted a 3-1 loss to us. I predicted it was going to be 3-1 to City, and it was. Should have put a bet on that. And obviously, we lost that game. Then we came home to Tottenham Hotspur at home, and in the Premier League, and we won 2-0 very comfortably. Then we went away in the Europa League to FC Cologne, and we lost 1-0. That was the first defeat in the Europa League. And then we was away to Burnley, and we lost 1-0 to them away from home. Then we played against Huddersfield Town in the Premier League at home, and we won 5-0. I thought that was a good performance from us as well. Very, very decent performance. Now we go into December. We're going into the home game in the Premier League, and it was against Manchester United, and we lost 3-1. That was our first home defeat in the Premier League. So, yeah, we lost that game. Then we got to Bate Borisov again in the group stage in Europa League, and that was at home, and we comfortably won that game 6-0. Then we was away in the Premier League to Southampton. I still remember this game, actually. It was Olivier Giroud that scored the equaliser. I believe it was 5 minutes to go till full time. And I think the snow was absolutely dreadful up there. Some of the fans couldn't get to the ground because it was so bad. The snow was bad. And we ended up drawing that game 1-1. Then we played against West Ham. We was away from home. We was at the London Stadium, and we drew 0-0. Then we played against Newcastle at home, and we won 1-0. Then we played against West Ham again in the Caribou Cup, and we won 1-0. Then we played against Liverpool at home. And we won. We drew 3-3. I thought that was a really tough game, really, because we played well at the start. And then in the last couple of minutes of the game, Liverpool go and score 2 goals. And they levelled it all 3-3. So, yeah, we was 3-1 up, and then they go and score 2 goals and made it 3-3. So, yeah, that was at home, and we drew. Then it got down to Crystal Palace away from home, and we won 3-2 away from home, so that was another victory away from home. Then we played against West Brom away, and we drew 1-1. That's December. Now we're going to go into January. Now, this is where the transfer window was open, and this is where I think we got Aubameyang, which I thought was a very, very good signing for us. For Borussia Dortmund, and I thought he has been literally one of our top players this season since he's been here. He scored, I believe, 10 goals in 13 games in the Premier League. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that signing. So now, guys, we're going to go into January. We had Chelsea at home. First game of January had Chelsea at home, and we drew 2-2. Don't know how we drew that game, but I think we should have won that game because we dominated that game. Then it got to Nottingham Forest, first game of the FA Cup. We was defending champions. We should literally go into this game with high hopes and hopefully go to the final. And it turned out we got embarrassed away from home by Nottingham Forest. We lost 4-2. How the hell did we lose to a team that was so poor? It was a poor team, and we managed to get beaten 4-2. So, yeah, there you go. Then we got to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge in the semi-final, the first semi-final of the Caribou Cup, and we drew 0-0. I thought it was a decent performance, really, from us. Decent result, 0-0, because of the way Chelsea was playing, the way we've been playing. But after losing to Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup a couple of days before, I really thought that we was going to lose to Chelsea in that first leg, because Chelsea had some good results previously before playing against us. But we ended up getting a good result, 0-0. I was quite happy with that result, really. Then we got to the Premier League on that Sunday, I think it was on a Sunday, against Bournemouth away from home, and we lost 2-1. Then it got to the Premier League, and it was a Crystal Palace at home, and we won 4-1. Then we got to the semi-final, second leg of the Carabao Cup, and we beat Chelsea 2-1. I thought we played well, but the last couple of minutes of the game, Chelsea was like, yeah, we're just going to play backwards and forward, like play backwards, sideways. So we they knew the game was dead and buried. Then we got to Swansea in the Premier League away from home after that, and we lost 3-1. Yeah, so that was January. Now we're going to go into February now. The first game in February was against Everton at home, and we won 5-1. Then we played against Tottenham at Wembley, and we lost 1-0. Then we got to the last 16 of Europa League, or the last 32, I think it was. We played Östersunds away from home, and we won 3-0. Then we played them again the week later, and played against Östersunds again at home, and we lost 2-1. We nearly lost that game against Östersunds. We nearly lost that game because Östersunds was at 2-0 up, and I was like, oh my God, here we go again. And then we ended up getting the goal, so it ended up 4-2 on aggregate. So plus we got the away goal, so we got through. Then we move on to the Caribou Cup Final, and that was against Man City, and we got embarrassed by Man City, and we lost 3-0. It really was one of them games that Arsenal should have been up for, and we should have won. But from the men to the 1 to 11 in the squad, they wasn't up for the game at all. They wasn't up for it, and we end up getting battered 3-0. Then we move into March. First game of March at home, and before you know it, who do we get drawn with? Man City at home again. And not just that, we get embarrassed again by losing 3-0 again. So 6 goals in 4 days is terrible. Right, then we got into the Premier League away game, and that was against Brighton, and we lost 2-1 to Brighton. Then we played against in the quarterfinals, which was against AC Milan in the last 16, and we won 2-0 at their ground, which I thought was a decent performance from us, very, very decent. Then we played against Watford at home. We won 3-0 in the Premier League. Then we played against AC Milan again in the last 16, and we beat them also at home 3-1. So that was a very, very good performance from us. Now I'm going to move on to April. Now, at this point, we kind of knew in the season who was going to be Premier League champions by the amount of results and the amount of games that was left in the league. So now we're going to move into April. The first game in April was against Stoke at home, and we won 3-0. For me, that was the icing on the cake because, as you know now, Stoke have been relegated and they're out of the league. So I was very, very pleased with that. So bye-bye, Stoke. You go down. So Stoke has now officially been relegated. So, yeah, so we won that game 3-1 at 3-0 at home. And then we played against Moscow in the Europa League in the semi-final, in the quarterfinals, at home, and we beat Moscow 4-1 at home. After the Moscow game, it was back to Premier League action, and we played against Southampton at home, and we won 3-2. Then it got back to Moscow again We was away to Moscow, and we drew 2-2, but we still went through on the goal difference, so that was good. Then it got back to Premier League action again. We was away from home. We was at Newcastle, and we lost 2-1. Then it was back to Premier League action again, which was at home to West Ham, and we won 4-1. Ramsey got a really good cheeky goal with that, because he was supposed to cross it, and then when he crossed it, the young defender of West Ham, he ducked, and Joe Hart didn't know what happened. The ball went in the back of the net, so I thought that was a really cheeky goal. Then we got down to the semi-final against Atletico Madrid. Of all teams, we didn't really want them in the semi-finals. We wanted them in the final, really, because I was talking to my dad as well, and I was saying that we can't physically beat Atletico Madrid over 2 games. If we could beat them if it was a final, I would say, yeah, we could probably beat them, but over the course of 2 games, I didn't see us beating them. So we was at the Emirates. It was at the Emirates, and the first game we drew 1-1. As I said, Simeone got sent off the pitch, and they also were down to 10 men. So that happened as well. I don't know how we actually ended up. It was a sloppy error from Koscielny. Again, sloppy error from him. So yeah, we ended up drawing that game 1-1. Then we was away to Man United at Old Trafford, and we lost 2-1. And that's when we saw the appearance of Maverick Panos. I thought he had a decent game for that, and I thought he played really well as well. It wasn't his fault, it happened, but yeah, it was a really good game. Then we move into the last month of the season, which was in May. First game in May was against Atletico Madrid semi-final, and we lost 1-0, so they moved to the final, obviously. Then it was the last 3 games of the league, and we played against Burnley at home, which was Arsene Wenger's last Premier League game as manager, and he got a good send-off as well. And Arsenal ended up winning 5-0. Then we got to one of our last away games, which was against Leicester, and we lost that one 3-1. And then we played the last game of the season against Huddersfield Town at their ground, where Herbert Chapman used to manage them, and we won 1-0. So that's all the results, guys, of this season. Now, as you can see by the amount of results that we've had during the course of the season, our away record was absolutely terrible, and it was a disgrace. And the reason why is because our home record is probably one of our best home records at home all the time. And I think we got a really, really decent home record this season. But as I said, our away record was absolutely terrible. I know we probably won, 4 away games. We won 4 away games out of the season, so and not just I'm not counting the Europa League games away from home, but I'm more thinking about the Premier League games. Now, if you want to win the Premier League title, you got to be winning home games and away games consistently. And I think for Arsenal that wasn't the case. It hasn't really been that for a very, very long time. But yeah, it was mainly sloppy defending. It was schoolboy defending errors from Mustafi, from Koscielny, and some probably goalkeeping errors as well. I know I forgot to mention in one of the games against Watford, Petr Cech finally saved a penalty. Against Troy Deeney, which I thought was a penalty save, really. But over the course of next season and obviously the summer of the World Cup, I do think that, as I said, Arsenal are still looking for their potential manager. It is either going to be between Mikel Arteta or Thierry Henry. And I think our main objective for the transfer window would be to get some defenders in. Maybe another goalkeeper. Maybe I would say get another goalkeeper. Not just that, I would also suggest get another central defending midfielder, like a holding defender, someone like Yaya Toure, as he's on the free at the moment, so I would get him if I was Arsenal right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So let me know what you thought of the season of Arsenal. And let me know, what you're going to be doing over the summer. You probably get some videos from me over the summer based on Arsenal transfers, management, or whatever. But guys, yeah, so thank you for joining me on my journey towards the end of the season. And we're going to keep it going until next season as well. We're going to keep going, see how Arsenal do progress. But thank you very much for my subscribers of getting my channel to this far at the moment. I really do much appreciate it. Please do keep on subscribing. Make sure you like my videos, and please make sure you do give me feedback on my channel. So yeah, guys, so until next season, I'm out of here.